Hello again, YouTube. Argonaut2 here. I want to start another new series today. I started a new series last night on just some fun, goofy, odd, unique stuff that I have. And last night's video was on a beat-up ammo can full of 50 cal shells that I think are pretty interesting. But I want to start another new series today on what I hope will be helpful tips, safety thoughts, things that people who are new to firearms, such as I was a few years ago, might not know or might want a few more details on, or some little tiny aspect of something that maybe isn't in their manual or they haven't seen on other videos, either from the manufacturer or other YouTube videos. And I want to address a few of those. First and foremost today, I thought I'd start off with pretty much most good YouTube videos, every manufacturer's manual, and so on. You know, gun shows that are on cable channels will talk about, type, say somewhere, treat every gun as if it's loaded. And that is outstanding advice. But what does it mean? If you're new to firearms, if you've never really handled firearms before, haven't had any training, haven't had friends or relatives to help you learn about such things, how would you know what treating a firearm that way means? You may very well not. So, in an effort to help out with just an aspect or two of that, treat every firearm as if it's loaded. Well, that means a couple of things. First of all, it means treat it as if it's loaded at all times, because it's simply a good habit to get into. You may be 100% sure that a firearm is unloaded, but you don't want to swing it around in an unsafe direction toward a person, a pet, anything, anybody, or off in some random direction where you don't think anybody might be, but who knows, a mile down the road or 100 feet away in your neighbor's house, who might be directly in the line of where you're pointing. So you don't want to point in an unsafe direction. With a handgun such as the one that I have here, this Ruger P95, you know, if you're pointing it, you want to be pointing it down. You want to point it down and away from anything that might be harmed. The worst thing that's going to happen right now, this firearm has been checked, and I know it's clear, but the worst thing that could happen in this event is that if I was mistaken, and there's that 1 in a million chance that I could be, if I was mistaken, the worst thing that's going to happen is that this old desk is going to get really messed up, and the plaster and the floor behind it, plaster on the wall and the floor behind it might get messed up. And that would really put a damper on my day, but I wouldn't be hurt, although my hearing might take a bit of a hit being inside here. And no other people would be hurt, and my pets wouldn't be hurt. So you always want to point it in a safe direction, and typically that's down. There are several firearms, and I own a few, where you actually have to dry fire them when you're cleaning and disassembling, reassembling. And again, you always want to do that, point it in a safe direction. Again, simply because it's a good habit. You may very well know that a gun is loaded, but there's that 1 in a million, 1 in 10 million chance, and that's when you end up reading about people in the newspaper or seeing tragedies on the news. So, always pointing it in a safe direction. Thing number 2 is the trigger and the trigger guard. Never put your finger on the trigger unless you intend to fire or dry fire. Most people you will see when they're handling a firearm such as this one will actually put their finger up on the side of the frame there and, whoops, excuse me, and keep it there rather than get it down on or in the trigger guard, simply to make sure that they're using that one additional element of safety. So that's another thing to be quite aware of. Not always pointing it in a safe direction and not having your finger on the trigger. If you are in a sporting goods store or a gun store and the person at the counter hands you a weapon, they will very likely pull it out of a glass case, verify that it's safe themselves, and this is the part that's step number 3. They are racking the slide, for instance, on a semi-automatic pistol such as this, and they are checking to see that there is nothing in that magazine and that there is nothing down there in the chamber. And if you can't see the chamber for any reason, maybe you're looking at a bolt gun or something else, bolt action, you can always stick a finger in there and visualize by feel too. And it doesn't hurt to do both. You can visualize, you can check, verify with a finger in there. But that's your verification that the firearm is now safe. Still don't want to point it in an unsafe direction or where it might hurt somebody. Also, if they hand it to you, they're going to hand it to you with the grip toward you so that you can actually take it like that. Take it like that and keep it pointed down for the most part. If they let you dry fire it, and you should ask first, because a lot of places don't like you to do that, even if it is okay for that particular weapon, and it is for most but not all. It's just considered courtesy if you want to dry fire to ask. But if you do and they say yes, keep your finger up there until you're ready to do it and point it in a safe direction, and then take care of that. Also, if they've handed it to you, even if they've safety checked it and they've handed it back to you, it is not considered rude in most places, and if it is, it's still on them, not you. It is not considered rude to recheck it. You may rack the slide yourself and do a double check to verify that the magazine is empty and that the chamber is empty. So, another way to handle that, this actually has a two-sided magazine release. You can see, now you don't typically want to pull the magazine out in the store. You don't necessarily need to do that. But if you're at home, you should drop the magazine out probably first, well, not probably, first thing you should drop the magazine out and then pull the slide back and check the chamber and verify that way. So, that is the basic few aspects. Those are the basic few aspects of what it means when we say treat every firearm as if it's loaded. You want to be safe at all times. This is one heck of a fun hobby, sport, enthusiasm, but you always want to be safe. You always want to be safe. You don't want to ever have a situation where your hobby, your sport, your home defense becomes unsafe for you or anybody or anything that you care about. So if you're new to all this, I hope this helps. Please feel free to leave comments, ask questions. If I don't have answers to things, I could certainly try to steer people toward folks who do, or other videos to watch. And like I said, I hope this helps. I certainly don't know everything by any stretch of the imagination about firearms. I've just been in it for a couple of years now. I'm still learning, but I've learned a tremendous amount over those couple of years. And I want to impart just a few things that I now know that I had questions about to begin with, and hope that maybe it helps speed up some other people's learning curves and quite literally point them in a safe direction. So again, please like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good one.